let us not bury the lead. The Boston Bruins have qualified for the 2021 Stanley Cup playoffs. And we're going to talk about it and all things Bruins since we last chatted last week on this, the Bruins Recap Show. Boston Bruins! As I have stated previously, the Bruins entering the playoffs, the 2021 Stanley Cup playoffs, which means for Bruce Cassidy in 5 straight seasons as the head coach of the Boston Bruins, he has made the playoffs all 5 times. That's a little cool thing. Since we last chat, which was a 1-0 shutout loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Boston Bruins have turned it around yet again, going 4-0-1 in their last 5. 9 out of 10 possible points. And the only loss, which I'm not going to give them all that much flack about, losing on the second half of a back-to-back in New Jersey after winning 3-0 the night prior to clinch the playoffs. Have I mentioned they've clinched the playoffs? They've clinched the playoffs. They've clinched the playoffs. I freaking love it. I would like to say that I was wrong. I thought that this team would not make it into the top 4. I thought they would be, roughly where the New York Rangers or the Philadelphia Flyers are. Maybe even a little bit closer than both of those teams. But I figured they would be 5, 6. They weren't bad enough to be New Jersey or Buffalo levels of bad. But I didn't think the Boston Bruins had it in them to be a playoff team in 2021. I am wrong. I enjoy being wrong on certain occasions, this being one of them. I am also wrong about a very specific player, that being Boston Bruins third line left winger Nick Ritchie, who I didn't think of all of that much. As of right now, I have him slated as my NESN, the New England Sports Network. I have him winning the 7th Player Award as given to them by that particular sports channel. Why? Because in 52 games this season, Nick Ritchie has put up 14 goals, 11 assists for 25 points, 5 of those goals being on the power play, 9 of those points also being on the power play. He is 9th on the team in points, and if you told me at the beginning of this season, hey, Nick Ritchie is going to be your 9th best points producer, I would have laughed and said that this team is definitely not going anywhere. But here I am, wrong again. Nick Ritchie is closing in on his career high, which took place in the 2018-2019 season with the Anaheim once Mighty Ducks, which he accumulated 31 points in 60 games. So he is about 6 points away from that, with the Boston Bruins having 4 games to go. And it's very likely, potentially, depending on how the Boston Bruins manage people's minutes, 31 points for Nick Ritchie is obtainable. 6 points in the next 4 games is doable. Possibly, probably. We'll see. He might be able to come somewhere near that 31 points. It'll be either his first or second most successful season as a NHL forward. If you want to talk about the top players of the last 5 games, it starts with playoff mode engaged for David Krejci, playing 10 years younger, or looking at least 10 years younger. 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. David Krejci is scoring goals again. He's got 8 points, or 8 goals currently right now. Number 2, who else? Brad Marchand, 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points. Brad Marchand could, if it wasn't for 2 guys up in the North Division scoring 40 goals and having almost 100 points, Brad Marchand would be a shoo-in possibly for MVP. I still think he will get votes, but he's not going to touch McDavid or Austin Matthews as far as point votes for most valuable player. And the number 3 star of the week, I guess I'll call it star of the week, why not? Craig Smith with 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points. Can we talk real quick about this second line? Since the trade deadline, David Krejci, 10 years younger, looking out there. Taylor Hall looking fantastic. Craig Smith looking like a force with the best motor on the team. They are going to be a matchup problem in the playoffs for any team that the Boston Bruins goes up against. Here's the fun question for all you fans. The Boston Bruins currently third in the East Division, 4 points behind both the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Washington Capitals, 1 point ahead of the New York Islanders, and at least one, maybe two, games in hand on all three teams. Here's the question. Where do you want to finish? First, it's plausible. It's not likely, whereas I believe Washington's playing the Flyers, Pittsburgh's playing Buffalo, and the Islanders, I believe, are playing the Devils. I believe. So, with that being said, none of the other teams in your division are playing that great a competition. So, it's going to be very difficult to gain points. But first place is obtainable. It's in grasp. You can get there. Do you want to finish second? Also obtainable, graspable, possible. Do you want to be third? Well, you are third. Stay the course. Nothing wrong with that. Or do you want to finish fourth? Which, again, it's easily doable. All you have to do is, not win your next any potential games or lose to the Islanders in the stretch. But does it matter? That's the real question, isn't it? With crowds being 25% or less for the East Division for the next two rounds, most likely, what's the significance of home ice? I mean, outside of matchups at the face-off last change, there's really not much else that makes a difference. Like, there's not going to be as much crowd noise. There's not going to be as big of a significance currently. And to prove the point, the Boston Bruins this season, home and away, borderline the same record. At home, the Boston Bruins 16-6-3. On the road, 15-8-4. Not much of a difference there between home record and road record for the Boston Bruins. They're easily capable on the road as they are on home ice, and I don't think crowd noise is going to be that much of a factor. And matchup-wise, as far as line by line, I don't think it matters all that much either. Maybe, I don't want like the Ovechkin line going up against the fourth line of the Boston Bruins. But those are the things that you're going to have to play out with. We'll see what happens. Now, here's the real thing as far as the other three teams in the playoffs. The Boston Bruins against the Washington Capitals. 4 wins, 1 loss, 2 overtime losses, but they do have one more game to play. That, I believe, is Tuesday of next week. Against the Pittsburgh Penguins, 5 wins, 3 losses. That series for the season is done. And the number 4 team currently, the New York Islanders, with 2 wins against them, 3 losses, and 2 overtime losses. The Bruins have a game left against them. Honestly, does it make a difference? You play well against Washington. You play well against the Penguins. You've been playing pretty well against the Islanders as of late, with the last 2 games really showing off that you can play against the Islanders, can score against the Islanders, can look good against the New York Islanders. So for Boston, control what you can control. Don't worry about the rest of the league. Don't worry about the rest of your division. Seeding, honestly, based on how you've played against other teams in this division, especially other teams in the playoffs, seeding's not a huge factor, in my opinion. More importantly, I would rather you keep Patrice Bergeron healthy, Charlie Coyle healthy, Brad Marchand, David Pastrnak, David Krejci, Tuukka Rask. Keep your top players healthy. Give Charlie McAvoy a game off. He needs it. Give players some rest within the next 4 games. Because you know who you're facing for the next 2 rounds if you make it that far. You know you're going to face either Washington, Pittsburgh, or the New York Islanders. You're playing 2 out of those 3. There's no change because that's the way this particular Stanley Cup playoff works. And then, once you get to the third round, if you get that far, then you got to worry about, the West or the Central or the North. But until that point, you know who you're facing. You've played them 8 times already. Home, away, doesn't make a difference because you're so familiar with the team that you're playing against. I don't know. We'll find out. 2021 for the Stanley Cup playoffs will be pretty weird because usually there's kind of a different way of how it works. You could be the 2 seed, beat the 3 seed, and play the wild card 1. That happened for the Bruins in 2019. It will be a weirder year, with maybe the only exception being the 2020 bubble. We'll see what happens. So, I guess for all that is left, my dear friends, in the comment section below, please tell me, who do you want to play in the first round? Do you want to play Washington, Pittsburgh, the New York Islanders? It's plausible you could play any of those 3. Who do you want to play, and why? Post that in the comment section below. Like this video for all that. Subscribe to the channel. And hey, I have TikTok and I have all other fun social media that I'll be posting down below. Give those a follow, give those a like, give those a find, and all that fun stuff. So, we'll talk about the playoff preview probably in the next video. There's a lot of P's on that. We will see you on the next Bruins Recap Show.